my cat's just come in. Did you hear that?
Is he trying to get a pod guest credit?
Yeah, I think so. You stay there as long as you're quiet.
I guess we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how that turns out.
Interesting things said by uninteresting people. You're hosted by Ben and Tom. Interesting things said by uninteresting people.
Welcome back to another episode of Interesting Things Said by Uninteresting People, a podcast where we talk about interesting things that you might find interesting as well. My name's Ben, and as always, I'm joined by the cat lover of the podcast, Tom. How are you, mate?
I'm good, but I'm always nervous about what you're going to say at that point then.
Mate, you know what? So am I. It's normally, you know, when people make up a fake name in a TV show because it's the things that they can see around them. Yeah. It's like, Tom, the desk. No. Microphone. No.
No. Oh, dear. I'm okay. How are you?
Mate, I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm pretty good considering, you know, as good as anyone can be. How are you feeling about the news that we can have garden parties starting? Starting from next Monday.
I guess it's great. It'd be nice to see some more people and go into Sam's garden next door and stuff. But I don't know. Do you know, it's such a small step. It doesn't feel like until we can visit people in their houses. It's still a small step.
Yeah. It's like, cool. No, you're right. It does. It feels like waiting for Christmas if the present you're getting is a pencil, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be brilliant. We can, and we're going to sit there and go, this is a bit crap, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd forgotten why I didn't mind not seeing you in the first place.
Yeah. Oh, that's why I was enjoying isolation. It's okay. I don't know, mate. I think it's almost impossible to not speak about it, but I did see, like, this is a problem with stats and stuff. You see internet things everywhere. And I saw that the UK, it was on Twitter of all places, and the UK said, someone was saying, why on earth is the UK opening up a little bit when they haven't got their virus under control? It was just showing all these curves that had flattened, and our one was just up in the middle, like, floating around.
Yeah. Well, dude, you see, there was a curve on the news. I don't know. You can make stats say anything, you know?
Yeah.
But there was a demonstration saying these are the number of deaths from COVID over the last few weeks, and then it's going down and down and down, and then it hits bank holiday, and then it just goes up again. And you think that's what happens when the British public kind of relaxes the regulations unofficially for themselves.
Yeah. So
we're going, hey, there's something in that. Maybe we should be relaxing the regulations a little bit. I don't know, man. I really don't want to be one. I think it's a thin line between being a real doom and gloomer, like, oh, it's awful. Don't forget, everyone, it's really crap. We should all be really sad about it. I don't think that's very healthy. But at the same time, man, there's a certain amount of realism you've got to inject into what we're experiencing, I guess.
Definitely. But yeah, I guess it's a cool first step.
Yeah, man, we can start having barbecues again. We get that fish on the barbecue.
Me and Kelly bought a barbecue the other day.
Really?
Yeah, not a fancy one. It was like your Sainsbury's 25 quidder, but it's done a really good job. We've had a couple of barbecues on it.
Oh, mate, right. We had this. I think I must have been really tired or half awake when I wrote barbecuing on our list of things we could talk about, because I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what I meant by that. Full disclosure, it's sat here in the list of things to talk about, and I don't know what I meant. Why I thought there would be any kind of content in talking about barbecuing at all, but maybe there is.
maybe there's something.
What? So, mate, do you feel like you don't need? Do you need a decent barbecue to have a good time?
Not for just me and Callie. There's only two of us, so we don't need like anything massive. But it's good, man. It's, and the big barbecues, like if you're talking about gas ones and all that sort of stuff, you're starting to look upwards of 200 quid, aren't you?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Something that does that. So we've just got. It's like it's such a classic barbecue. If you ask someone to draw a barbecue, they would draw this barbecue.
Brilliant.
The black bowl on the legs.
Yeah.
Simple as that. But yeah, it's really good. We bought that there's that coal that you get that you just set the pack on fire and the pack
Oh,
acts as the
yeah,
lighter.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect. We got
that's
some
ideal.
delicious barbecue stuff off it.
What is your go-to barbecue food?
Scott, do you know what? We've been really enjoying sausages.
Oh, man.
We didn't have any burgers last time. So they fill you up so much. By the time we've had a burger, I'm a bit like...
Yeah.
So I can have 3 or 4 sausages and then a bit of chicken. Or
Oh, man. I did see
make chicken on the barbecue.
Oh, dude. The nice thing I think about sausages is that you can get some really nice sausages, really nice ones. But honestly, as long as you open your mind to it, even the cheap ones are good, man. Because you know what you're getting. It's guts and innards in a bit of skin. If you're not expecting it to be gourmet, even the cheap ones are really good. Well, I think Tom and I had a conversation shortly before recording about putting fish on the barbecue and how I still can't get the smell off my fingers. So I can't say that I'd recommend a seafood barbecue, but there you go.
Mate, it's it's not a very good segue, but I have been skateboarding again.
Really?
I've been in isolation. So I've been skateboarding a lot with Sam, keeping the social distance, of course.
Naturally.
And I don't know if you saw on Twitter yesterday, but I posted a kickflip.
Did you?
Yeah.
Maybe I did. I did. I might have to go and recheck. Yeah.
There's a good thing about it is because I got Sam to film it in slow mo, so it looks really cool. But it's probably attempt 1 of 12 maybe to get it.
I did see this, and you know what, mate? Honestly, do you know what? I didn't realise it was you. I saw. That's the thing. I think my brain thought it was Sam. I know that might sound. I'm going to look at it again now, and it's going to be clearly you.
Yeah,
but maybe, I don't know. Maybe because I thought you'd be filming it. Maybe that's what it was.
That's probably right. I actually have a filmed version of a slow motion one. I was going to put up today with me falling off.
Oh, fantastic!
And, I look at my hand today. I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually bruised. You can see it there.
Yeah,
that kind of triangle of bruising because I fell off quite hard, and I've got a 13-year-old's cuts and bruises again. You know, when you grazed your knee and when you fall off, it's like, get mum.
Oh no, dude. Get the skin knees.
Yeah, I've got bruised all up my legs and stuff. I haven't had that in years. I woke up this morning and this is probably a sign of the old 30 creeping up, but just everything ached. I was like, oh. I think it's because I fell off with such a thud. It's just right on the elbows.
Oh man! So are you hoping this is going to be something you can carry on? After isolation.
Funnily enough, no. not because I don't disenjoy it. We're just using empty car parks, and it's actually really weirdly nice to go to a proper empty car park. Nobody there. It's quiet.
Sure, yeah.
And I just don't think I'll get that again afterwards. I don't really want to go to a skate park. I don't really want to find somewhere else. What we've got is good. And I keep saying, Sam, when this skate season's over, I want to be able to land a kickflip every time. And then that's it.
Yeah.
I'll be done.
So I can reliably pull off a kickflip.
Yeah. So if someone asks me in a year's time, can you kickflip? I'll just a couple goes and then I've got it.
Dude, I actually had my own similar kind of skateboarding career back in the day. Now, I don't really talk about this because I don't like to brag. But basically one time I was stood on a skateboard. I thought, I could give this a go. And it was literally that thought of I'll try this out. Because I was a bit too old to be like a kid where you just go, oh yeah, skateboarding is cool. I'm just going to get on. I was very aware that I was trying something new. Do you know what I mean? It felt a bit weird. Yeah. I had a couple of guys there who were skateboarding. And I said, oh, how do you get it to, how do you ollie? How do you get it to up in the air? So they walked me through it. And man, dude, I pulled off an ollie from a standing start to literally waist high, right? I got my feet right under my ass, landed it. I have never done it since. I've never been on a skateboard since. I don't know what I did. Shame. I don't know how, dude. And mate, it was 100% fluke. I could get nowhere near trying this again. But because my skateboarding career ended shortly afterwards, I feel kind of proud of my
He's
stats.
got the ollie.
I got the ollie.
Mate, I feel like learning an ollie is like a rite of passage for
I've achieved the equivalent of like pressing cross on Tony Hawk's. Pressing X.
Mate, the thing is with an ollie, it's such a weird. Once you get it, you kind of can't forget it. It's like riding a bike, but explaining it is such a strange movement.
Yeah, sure.
Because the board's not stuck to you, so you just pop it one way and then you kick out with the front so it matches your back foot. It just kind of follows you around. It doesn't stick to you. It just kind of keeps the same momentum as you. It's a weird move. It's not because it's not the same as jumping, as you're probably aware. It's a very different thing to do.
I think that's why. I think I remember that's why I wanted to try and do it. Is because I couldn't understand how you could do it. Because you'd think you just jump and your feet come up, and if you do just jump, then your feet come up and the board stays where it is. Yeah. So it's weird to get. It's just an unusual thing, I guess.
It's a strange move, but once you got it, it's great. Mate, the kickflip though is such a mile. We're talking about this yesterday. A kickflip is like next level. It's so much harder. It's not even like a little bit harder. It's like completely different. The difficulty spike is insane.
I mean, from someone who, like I say, has never really properly skateboarded, is it because that's like the first trick where you need to be feeling it? You need to be like, you need to get it on a slightly different way than if you're just titting around on a skateboard.
Definitely, you need to like. I always say to sound like I'm overthinking it, when really you don't need to overthink it. You just need to do it, and it's really hard. It's hard because the board spins round, and if the board spins, there's loads of places it can go. So it could fly out one way, it could fly out the other way, it could like go vertical under you and then go right into your gooch area. It's a risky move.
It could invade the personals.
Yeah, definitely. And like it's so easy to not land right and fall off, or to like land on the back of the skateboard, or to land on the side of it. It's so tricky.
Oh man,
I don't know how some people were like. I watched loads of. This is terrible. I've got like the bug now. When you look it up on YouTube and it all gets recommended. Watching way too much skating stuff, but they just make it look so easy.
I tell you what, man, YouTube is a hell of a taskmaster. Like the minute you show a vague interest in wanting to be better at one thing, it's like, come on. Do you remember you were trying to do an ollie? Come on, watch another video about it. Come on.
Here's 5 tips how to ollie in 5 days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, maybe we'll come on to it, man. But I've been looking up a lot of videos, just idly looking at videos about recording, mixing, and all the rest of it. So now that's all I get recommended from YouTube.
Yeah,
it's like, why don't you work on your vocals in this way,
mate? Do you use YouTube on the desktop? Or is it on your phone usually?
Both.
Have you noticed on the desktop now that if you go to the homepage at the top, mine's changed this. It's got like themes or categories.
You know what? I have noticed that, but I haven't really looked at it. I've noticed it fleetingly as I've kind of been going to what I was on YouTube for, or what have you. So
it's interesting. I'm not sure if I like it, but it's good to have more variety because sometimes we open the homepage.
I tell you what, I wouldn't normally do this while we're doing old poddy, but I'm going to look now. Because I want to see, because this might be breaking news. It's breaking news. Because I want to know if you can. Oh no! You see, you can't. What would be really interesting is if you could edit it.
Yes, that would be interesting. Oh, and then follow topics.
Yeah, I mean, for example, here, because I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, if you started doing yoga in the mornings, and I'm not going to get into it again. But it's now it's got the topic of Pilates,
right?
And I'm not particularly
into that.
No, not. I don't know. Yeah, but it's certainly not something that I want to see. Or like here, I've been watching some guys talk about the Pierce Brosnan James Bond films, like analysis of why they are what they are. But now it's recommending James Bond to me. I wish I could just delete that from the algorithm. Maybe there is. Maybe I don't know. I'm not going to keep looking at it now because that's not great podcasting. But that'd be how cool would that be if you could just go, oh yeah, you know what? I was just looking that up for a thing I was doing, so don't worry about showing me that anymore. Oh man,
mine is so typical for like someone that watches tech. That like the top categories are iPad Pro, photography, gadgets, drone, laptops, bosses for some reason, podcasts, action adventure games, pixel free, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, superhero movies, Premiere Pro, electronic music, lo-fi music.
Oh, I think we all know why that is.
Yeah. Drum kit and Ryzen. Don't know why drum kit's on there.
Okay.
But yeah,
you know what? It might be guessing, mate. It might be guessing because it might go right. Other people who've looked at these types of videos, one day will be looking at this type of video.
I think, in fairness, in the past, I used to watch lots of like Mario Bros. Drum covers.
Oh,
you know, when
cool.
someone like hammers along with a proper drum kit to like an 8-bit tune. I used to be mad into that.
I'm going to give you one little treat for you. All right. Before we start talking about any of the stuff that we had listed to talk about today. Right. Have you ever seen Parasite? Not the film, the Japanese cartoon.
No.
I've only watched a couple of episodes. I'm about 3 episodes in because it looks kind of cool. It's about a kid who gets an alien. It seems like an alien parasite in his hand. It's trying to take over his brain.
Right, I'm sure I've heard of this.
Yeah, it does all kind of. It's a very kind of. If it wasn't animated, it'd be very body horror-y. You know, like because his hand is basically it comes a lot and it's like splitting off into different bits but there's all these other parasites that have got into people and have got into their brains. Yeah, and they're dangerous. And it's like I guess a monster of the week kind of. You have to go and protect himself from these creatures or whatever it is. But anyway, I you know, people have probably watched this and they're probably screaming at me going, that's not what it's about. You completely misunderstood. Because I've only watched like 3 episodes or so. But the theme tune is
it banger?
Nuts. It's fucking insane. Right. I'll put a link in the description, man. And you should, I'll link you with it as well. I'll give you a WhatsApp. It's so balls to the wall insane. It's one of these tracks where it just starts at like an 8, then it goes to a 9, then the next section somehow goes to a 12, and then you think it's going to chill out. No, it's like 15 after that. It just keeps getting more and more nuts and more insane.
No.
So
is it like an anime?
Dude, yeah.
Cool. Mate, some anime opening tracks are just insanely good. Like, I remember some of the Death Note ones were always epic.
Oh, cool.
So I know what you mean. Weirdly, sometimes the music is like, oh, I want to watch the next episode.
That's the highlight,
yeah.
Well, dude, see, that is a man. He said, I'd love to watch them, but then YouTube are going to get me with the bloody algorithm. It's going to be anime intros.
Yeah. Ben, what's this anime you've been watching? No, nothing. It's the algorithm.
It's just the algorithm, Bob. It's just the algorithm. Mate, we've got a bit of a follow up on something we were talking about on the last episode about with old Elon Musk's baby and the name they gave him, because the news has come out that it turns out you can't just call your child a random string of numbers and letters, because they've made him change the name, haven't they?
Yeah, but not by much. Have you seen? I think they've changed it too.
They've changed the numerals 12 to is it XI? Well, it'd be XII. It's like it's Roman numerals.
Yeah, so it's not. He still get the lucky kid. He still gets the bulk of it. As to say,
he still gets hit by the bulk of the pain.
He just doesn't. I think because the middle spelling of AI was her own thing she'd made up.
Sure.
And I think. I don't blame them for saying you can't name them that, because probably on registers and electoral rolls they just don't have that icon. So it just
won't work. Yeah,
his life will suck if you don't give him some other name.
Dude, what I thought was very telling, and I don't know, I might sound cynical here, but what I did think was telling was Grimes' response to having to. Oh, I think it looks better anyway. Do you?
Is that really?
Because it seems like you picked one. You picked 12, 1, 2.
It's pretty specific, yeah.
Yeah, you put that much thought into the kid's name. You would have workshopped having the Roman numeral. I don't know. It seems very kind of whatever. It's better anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe they are a bit like that.
Do you know what they could have done? Do you know what they could have said? No, you need to change to Ash. ASH. Oh yeah, it's better anyway. We prefer this.
Yeah. We're just going to call him Ash Musk. That's what you got. Yeah, that's what we wanted
get
anyway. Poor kid.
I know, man. Well, more as it happens from Itzbup, your source of this poor child's news.
The two least qualified, the least relevant people to speak about it. And here we are.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, speak for yourself, mate. I don't know.
I mean, speaking of online news, we had a bit of a kerfuffle from old Trumpy, didn't we?
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that was, yeah. Yeah. I'll explain it if you like.
Sure. Yeah.
So Trump, we always said, Ben, we'd never get political, and I'll try and keep this as apolitical as possible because
go for it. Man, dive straight in. We all know your views.
We all know your lefty liberal scum views. No, like I said, he's not our president, so whatever. But he tweeted, didn't he? But did you see it?
He was. I saw that. I did see the tweet. He was saying that that mail-in. It was about mail-in ballots, wasn't it? How it would be corrupt,
fraudulent. Yeah, and I'm not sure the history of that. I've got no bearing to base this on. But saying mail-in ballots is fraudulent. I imagine that's they mail out ballots. You write what you want and then mail it back.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I assume that's how it works. Now, I guess the possibility for fraud would be stuffing the mailbox with fake ballots, or
I don't know. I guess is he suggesting like that? I mean, I guess it could be a few things. Like people could fraudulently get a ballot, like duplicate ballots, like ballots they shouldn't have, and then write what they want and send it in, or even the people collecting them and count. But then you could say that about any kind of voting.
Well, I was going to say it's what happens over here, doesn't it? It'll get collected locally, and counted.
Because I mean, we have mail-in votes for certain things, and
if you can't make it, or if you're not in the country or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's never been a massive problem.
Anyway, he tweeted saying you shouldn't do mail-in ballots, full stop. It's fraudulent and all this sort of stuff. And then Twitter, and I think this is the first time they've done it, put like a little blue exclamation mark right underneath his tweet. So if you click the tweet, it shows up, and then that little blue exclamation mark says "Get the facts about mail-in ballots," which then links to 3 or 4 news sites that say there's no evidence this has ever happened.
Sure,
of fraud.
It's like this tweet might be unsubstantiated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think the thing that triggered Trump more than anything is the news sites it links to are the ones that he often bashes. So it's like CNN and Amazon News, which he sees as like Democrat friendly, anti-conservative and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he was clearly very upset about it and said, goes off free speech amendments and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and did the best retweet. Someone I follow retweeted. It was like the I'm not sure of her name. The speaker at the White House press conferences. She's relatively young.
You sure?
I can't remember her name, but she's reading out this thing, and she's protecting, the president. It's like the First Amendment or Second. I don't know. I don't know. And it's like President Trump believes in the First Amendment, but he also believes in freedom of speech, which is why he can't allow Twitter to do this. And it's so contradictory. It's like if you're talking about free speech, Twitter should be able to do what the fuck it wants to do.
Exactly, man. It's so. This is what I kind of horribly like about it, is because it just perfectly highlights what most people get. Well, no, not most. What a lot of people get wrong when they complain about free speech.
Yeah.
Or how they want their free speech. It's like, yeah, you have got the freedom to say whatever you like, but so have we.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've got the freedom to correct you if we feel like you're wrong. Or we've got the freedom to pull you up on things. We've got the freedom not to listen and just walk off, or keep you out of our club. If Twitter at the end of the day says we don't like what you're saying in our club, because at the end of the day, it's not a national service; it's a business, it's a website.
Exactly, and dude, I think this is what the press secretary is trying to link it to. She's like the Americans' rights to freedom of speech, tweet, and something else. So they're trying to rope it into like being a service, and I think this is like almost the best. Such a like good metaphor for America is like, corporations that rise up that get this powerful can actually fact correct the president and say, no, that's bollocks. And here's the evidence to prove it.
What's nice about it is it's like journalism. It's because that's how journalism should work. The front page on every headline should be, back in the day when people could only say like one or two things a day. If you know what I mean, like one or two things that people heard about a day. You could have the newspaper going, oh, the president said this, but we're not really sure where he's getting this from. Yeah. So the fact that Twitter can now do that maybe not real time, but sharpish. What's the problem? Because they'll do it to everyone else. Maybe they'll start with the highest reach.
Yeah. And there's nothing, like we said, Twitter is a service, as is Facebook, as is YouTube, as all that sort of stuff. They don't owe allegiance to anybody. So if Jack Dorsey decided he didn't want Trump on his platform, then surely he has the right to be like, no, you're off, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, if he did that, you could argue that that's potentially damaging in lots of other ways, like you can't just start removing people because you don't like them. But it is a service, and it is, it's made in America, and if you want freedom, then freedom is being able to ban who you want and accept who you want and do what you like.
I don't know, man. It's difficult though, isn't it? Because, you get, in America, you get bakers who won't make cakes for gay weddings, all that kind of stuff. And there's the big argument of, well, we should defend their beliefs. They should be allowed to defend their faith and act on their beliefs. Their beliefs? Yeah, act on their believies. But when it's, Twitter doesn't like people saying racist things, so we're gonna stop you being on here. And what the president has said has been demonstrably racist in the past. We're going to get rid of you. Well, that's a whole different thing. Yeah. And so all of a sudden it's one rule for one and one rule for the other.
Yeah, I think when it comes to presidents and big public figures, I think the conversation, it must get a lot more tricky than just random matey down the street that says racist things. But I think Trump's broke the rules of service so many times because he threatened nuclear war. Yeah. And that's a massive thing to say to. And I remember there was big call outs for Twitter to block him, like you're breaking the terms of service by threatening a global catastrophe on our platform. But it didn't happen then and all that sort of stuff. So they've been pretty wishy-washy with it. But I think it's a good thing. You shouldn't lie to people.
That's probably true. Yeah,
it's simple as that. And like if you're a public figure, and like. I saw, this is how it boggles my mind sometimes. I follow Trump relatively closely, not a lot, but I'll look at what he's been doing. And he retweeted a video that said, like, the only good Democrat is a dead Democrat. It's like, and in that speech, the guy speaking is like, the only, and I don't mean killing them and all this sort of thing. It's like, it doesn't matter if you don't mean that. It's just, what a thing to retweet.
Yeah. What a sentiment to get behind.
Yeah. And like, I know there's like acting presidential is like completely subjective, but my God, I wouldn't do that even if I was like the head of a company.
Yeah.
Or anything along those lines. It just seems so detached.
Well, dude, I know there are a lot of people that would disagree with things like this, but if you look at monkeys, and the strongest monkey, the leader of a monkey troop, isn't the one that's battered the shit out of all the other monkeys. It's the one who's forged the strongest friendships. Literally, you can watch them do it. They don't get where they are by being the strongest, the cruelest, the most violent. There's fights, but that's not how they get there. They get there by grooming everyone else. They groom the most. They make sure they help someone else get some food. And that's how they become and it's such a good parallel to how humans are. The strongest leaders in the world. I know every leader does things that people would disagree with at some point on some level. But generally, the person who becomes a leader is the person who's like, I'm a good politician. I'm literally a good politician. I'm diplomatic. I'm able to try and keep as many people on side as possible and yet still lead the way, It's a difficult skill, and Trump has not got it.
I just, man, like I say, I don't know how. I just don't know how you vote for him. I just don't get it. I think I need someone to sit down with me and explain, like, pretty much every point for me to really understand it. Because even if I agreed with all of his policy things, and I think some of them have been good for businesses and stuff in America. Lots of people said, like, I'm actually earning more now than I ever did, which is great.
Yeah.
But as a person, like, I just couldn't vote for him. Same way I couldn't vote for, like, Boris Johnson over here. It's just like, I don't get it. What do you see in these people that I'm missing?
Yeah. I'd like to know. Yeah.
That's it. That's the end of my unsubstantiated politics chit
Well,
chat.
that's fine. We can get back to what we know, man. I mean, pop culture and mild entertainment and vaguely interesting things. Because I wanted to tell you about. I know I mentioned this to you. I'll keep it vaguely brief, but I wanted to talk to you about Schitt's Creek,
right?
A little bit, because it is. I know you haven't watched it, but I would repeat my real life recommendation to you, and to anyone listening as well. It is one of my favourite pieces of television from the last few years, hands down. Ben's Rex. It's
number one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it would be.
Netflix?
It is on Netflix. All of it's on Netflix. They've just released the final series because they actively decided they wanted to end it, which is. Right. It was a good. I think it ends well, and you can start. I think it's the 6th series was the last series. Nice short episodes, about 20-25 minutes. That sort of length.
So it's like a comedy, sort of like Friends or The Office or something.
It's a comedy. It is a comedy. I wouldn't know what I'd compare it to be honest.
Right.
It's about a rich family. Where the dad was a video store mogul,
right,
and the mom was an actress, like a daytime soap opera actress.
Yeah,
and they start the show with their heads so far up in the clouds, like But this, I mean, in the first episode, the show opens with them being kicked out of their house because his business manager has defrauded them of all this money, or he's broken a load of laws, so they're being punished for it.
Right.
And so the only asset that they've got left is this town that they bought as a joke called Schitt's Creek because of the name, right?
Yeah.
And so this is where they have to go and live. And it's about, and they live in this rundown old motel, and it's about their life in this backwater where everyone's weird. It's just a bizarre place, but and you know, I cannot sell it except to say it's just a great show. So the casting's amazing. The dad is Eugene Levy, who is the dad in American Pie.
Okay. Oh yeah.
You definitely recognize him.
Yeah.
It's actually him and his real life son who plays his son, Dan Levy, who wrote it, who made it and wrote it. I think maybe Dan went to him and said, "Look, I want you to be involved in this," but the two of them sort of make it together. The mum is Catherine O'Hara, who's the mum in Home Alone. And then it's a few. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else who's been in much else, but I think the rest of the cast are pretty fresh faces, or they were, at the time. And it's just brilliant. And the main reason why it's brilliant is because it's got that perfect blend of real fun, real comedy, like properly very funny, very witty comedy with good sentimental bits as well. It's very heartfelt in a lot of cases because, especially because the mom and dad have these two kids, these two sort of adult kids who are airheaded and self-absorbed and just completely shallow. But it's about their lives as well, and it's not kind of this saccharine. Oh, look at how they grow as people. There is obviously I think it's what I like is that there's character development first before there's like behavior development, if that makes sense. So it doesn't it doesn't jump straight to and look at the lesson they've learned. It's not that, but it's like the people just so subtly change, and there are so many sweet little moments peppered through it. I just can't recommend it enough, man. It's such a good show. It's such a well-made piece of television.
Awesome.
Yeah. I would heartily recommend it to you and to anyone who's shackled with listening to this.
Shackled. Fair enough, man. That sounds great.
Yeah. That's Ben's Rec. That's like
Ben's Rec for today.
Yeah, man. Because I know there's some other stuff we want to talk about as well. I know because this is sort of a follow on from last week as well when we were talking about the Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
There's a video that people should check out, or a pair of videos, I guess.
Definitely. So if you've watched The Corridor Crew, very, very quickly, a lot of people are mowing their lawns at the moment. Can you hear it? You've got a slight rumble.
I can hear it when you speak. I mean, this might be different when we get the recording through, but I can hear it when your voice opens the gate.
Okay, because mine's not. Mine doesn't, on my end, doesn't look like it's recording it, so that's good, but it's pretty loud.
It's fine, mate. I'll fix it in post. It's fine.
So this is Corridor Crew and Corridor, actually. It's both of the channels doing a video, like, together, I guess, but the same people anyway. But yeah, it's like using the new Unreal Engine, Unreal Engine 5, to film a React video with totally made, like, assets and people and acting and everything, and it's pretty mind-blowing, isn't it?
It's very cool. So it's almost like because they do the videos where they sit on the sofa and they're watching like a film and they go, oh, this CGI is good because of this or bad because of that. It's like it's almost like a spoof of that, where it's computer game characters commenting on video game performances.
It is particularly good, but it's not good because of, like, we talked about this before, but I'm not impressed really by the end result. I'm more impressed by the fact that they can even do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a really good section where he's just using his iPhone to animate the heads by capturing his face.
Yeah.
And he just, like, he basically he does like a podcast like we are now with the other two on it. And
but
then
good.
But good, yeah. And, with, like, proper opinions and, like, backed up research and stuff. He speaks to them, and then he basically transcribes everything they said. It must have been a massive undertaking.
Sure.
He transcribes the whole lot, and then he plays it back, but then mimes what they're saying, and his iPhone captures his face, and then he puts that face animation on their fake faces.
It's incredible.
It's amazing
because a lot of it is done with his phone, but it's technology that, I mean, even a couple of years ago would have been incredible to have on a full dedicated rig, let alone as an app. Like sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, it really, really made me see, like, fully immersive VR at some point coming to a point where it is completely possible.
Yeah.
If it can read your face like that, and your character in the game world can show off that, and he's got it reminded me of Ready Player One, because he puts on the suit at one point, doesn't he, to animate his friend. He puts on like a mocap suit as well. And if you imagine that combined with the face thing, combined with a VR headset, it's not impossible to imagine that you could get that experience.
I mean, so let's break it down. So what does he manage to do at home? So there's a face, not just the face recognition, not just the face mapping and movement, but they do a 3D scan of everyone's heads to put onto the models.
Yeah.
He does. I mean, they have the mocap suit. I mean, that's part, from running the channel.
It's like 22 grand, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, so there's
that.
But so he does all that in his apartment, all the mocap filming, all the rest of it. He does like you say, like the facial expressions. For me, maybe the most incredible bit was when he then films it.
Yeah, it's mad.
So it's like he's created this, because they've got they had a laser scan of their studio.
Yeah, it's like a complete 3D rendering of their studio, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, so some of this is stuff that you might not have at home, right?
Yeah,
but this is just flavor, But the fact that then once he's created this space in 3D and he's created the models and he's given them performances and he's put the voice to them and he's put the facial expressions to match the voice and all the rest of it, then he gets out his phone and says, right, I'm in this space now, and it acts like a virtual camera. So if you've ever done like AI, like augmented reality things on your phone where you can put like a wolf in your living room, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And as you move, it's like you've got a camera filming he just films it. So he just stands there with his phone and goes, right, I'm here now. I'm here.
Because I guess once you've got that 3D space, you can then do whatever you want in terms of filming too.
Yeah.
And the thing I did notice on it as well is like they've also got the fake kind of like, bokeh and background defocus as well, which I thought was like, that's probably relatively easy for them to do now. But I was like, wow, that,
that's a nice
step
touch
towards the realism. Yeah.
But isn't that, what's really cool about it is because obviously these guys work with video all the time and they work with CG all the time and all the rest of it. This is just a new tool. Yeah. So you can immediately, as soon as you get a new tool to do a job that you're familiar with, you can go, oh, I wonder if I could add a bit of defocus. Oh yeah, you can. I wonder if I could do this. And you kind of add in all these things that I don't know, well, it just comes from years of experience, I guess, but it's these things that would be quite high level things to think of, but are such small differences in making a polished thing.
And I bet in a way it probably makes, because like when you see like CG sequences, they're all very designed to be one specific thing, and it like the intro of that film, is it Warlord, where it follows the bullet around everywhere?
Yes.
That's like very specifically designed. Whereas if you had that 3D space, you could probably try out loads of different things quite quickly because you don't have to render everything all the time. It's already there, so you could just try. Like you could imagine
mad.
Just throwing the phone to see what it captures in that space, or I would imagine it's easier than building a whole separate CGI segment. You could just build it in the same space or something. I don't know, completely spitballing, but
no, sure.
I bet it opens up lots of new opportunities that they probably hadn't really thought about.
Yeah. No, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I mean, it's just thinking back to the Unreal 5 demonstration video as well. I mean, you can see how because this was just done in a house, like in the guy's home, with very minimal equipment. You imagine if you had, when they're talking about how the environment almost figures itself out.
Yeah.
And then you just go, right, well, we've made this big set that we want to be in, so let's just film it. Let's just see what happens.
It's incredible.
You've seen how they film Mandalorian, where they have the massive is it LCD screens? Yeah, where it shifts as you move the camera as they're filming different characters. It has like parallax shifting. It has appropriate shifting in the background.
That's
I mean, that I feel like there's some kind of nexus coming where all that just comes together and we just have completely artificial sets.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess it's probably not far off because everything's so heavily like green screened or blue screened.
Yeah.
Doing that next is probably just another step, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be mad. What a world, man. And the fact that you can get results like that at home.
Yeah, incredible.
I mean, I wanted to touch, it's kind of related, but only because I was mentioning it to you. And I don't even know why I want to talk about it other than to maybe encourage people, I guess. Like, just talking about the home, recording of audio, of music. Because, I mean, we've both been around music for a long time. I've made music and I know we both have. Yeah. But with us being in lockdown, I kind of thought, right, I need to turn my head more towards actively doing the recording side of things.
Sure.
Because it's one thing to be in that environment a lot and to know how it works on a certain level and to be able to operate as an artist in that kind of environment, which sounds very pretentious anyway, but you know what I mean? Like to operate on that side of it. But I thought, all right, I'll get cracking on it. Dude, the entry level to being able to do that kind of thing at home is so low. It's so easy access to be able to get in and get good results. So I guess the only reason I wanted to tag this on to talking about like filming at home, recording at home, is just to encourage me, because I had this conversation with my cousin who plays in a band and plays guitar. And I said to him, do you ever do any recording of what you're writing or what you're making? He's like, oh, not really. We've got a bit of gear to do it with. We don't really get into it. I guess the whole reason for bringing this up is just to say to people, like, if you have a hobby like that, or you have an instrument that you try, or like filming, if you enjoy making stupid videos on your phone, like at a really low level, like funny, there's a lot you can do at home if you just put in a couple of hours of learning,
Definitely. This is quite a good point, really, because our big fan, Andrew Vanstone, and proud listener, has just finally taken the plunge of buying his own like microphones and stuff and getting it hooked up to his
of course, yeah.
I think I don't know if he's doing it on his phone or if he's got an iPad or something. I'm not sure, or he's just doing it off his. I think he's doing it on an iPad,
Okay.
And he put out his first EP, which he recorded at home all by himself with a microphone, like a USB sort of one. And you know what? It's it's really good. He's done a really good job.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And I mean that, Randy, if you're listening. It's not perfect. There's quite a few problems still, but it's but it's totally listenable, and like he said himself, is like, it wasn't. At the end of the day, it wasn't that difficult.
Yeah,
and it is. It's so accessible now. Like USB microphones.
Matt, I mean, not to detract from what Andy put out at all, but that's the first one.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
If you do that 5 more times, who knows where you're going to be?
It's going to be way better. And he did that quite quickly. It was probably about a month turnaround from getting it to recording it and putting it out. So it's so worth it. I
mean, just so people know, I've been using a couple of programs just for audio recording. I know GarageBand is a stock app. I don't know.
I think that's what Randy used.
Yeah.
GarageBand.
Obviously, I'm an Android pleb, so Android Windows pleb. So I used a program called Audio Evolution Mobile, which is surprisingly functional. If you use it on a tablet, great. I think the only downside to it is if you use it on a phone, it's time consuming to get around, like the UI, just because of lack of space.
Sometimes a phone screen is just too small for that sort of thing.
But in terms of functionality, it'll do it all. On a tablet, it would be better. I'm using Cakewalk on desktop again because I'm pikey, and I haven't invested any money in this stuff. But again, even free stuff like that, it is absolutely functional, and I don't mean that as a euphemism. It is it's
totally fine.
In terms of the function that you'd see on a higher end workstation, it's there. A lot of it's there. There's a few things that are different. But if this pro level stuff, B class pro level stuff is very available to people.
I'm sure you can get like 80 to 90% of what you could get on Cubase or Pro Tools or whatever from these ones.
And you know what? Again, it's the same as we were talking about before. It's not the equipment. It's your knowledge of what you're doing with it.
Yeah, definitely. Man, this is that's why there's I think there's a really good audio program called Reaper. We talked about it a little bit before, but Reaper's a really good example because I think that's used quite heavily in industry now. Yeah, and that's completely free, which is cool. I know my friend Jared, who also listens to this podcast.
Oh man, we name check all the fans.
Bashing out the names. Yeah. I know Jared is a big fan of it. He thinks it's pretty great, and he's used all Pro Tools and Cubase and stuff before.
Yeah. I think it is. Cool. It's maybe it's nice that I was around, sort of semi-learning with Cubase and other stuff to then be able to go to something that's different and go, okay, well, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm looking, at least where I'm looking for things.
That's the good thing about video editors and music editors and all that is there's only a certain way you can actually do things. They all look like multi-track interface. There is no other way of building one that works. So once you've got an idea of one, you kind of work on the others. Talking of Android plebs, mate, I'm on an Android phone at the moment.
Are you? Okay, what happened? I recognise that phone from your Twitter posts.
Yeah, I've been posting it way too much. Yeah, I'm on. No, we shouldn't. No, I wouldn't ever bash Android users. They're just wrong.
Oh man.
No, I'm joking. Very, very quickly, might as well touch on it. It's really good. I really like it.
Yeah. Well, what is it?
It's a OnePlus 8, which is the new one from OnePlus. It's got the you probably won't be able to. I nearly dropped it then. You probably won't be able to tell, but it's got a 90 hertz screen, so it's ultra fluid.
Oh, nice. Okay, so, I believe you. It's not coming across on webcam too well, but I do believe you. Yeah.
But it's ultra smooth, which is really nice, and it's got 12 gig of RAM. It's total overkill, more RAM than my laptop. But no, mate, it's awesome. I've said it before, and I said it with the iPhone SE, which is probably what we talked about last time. If someone said that's the phone you've got to use now for 2 years, I'd be like, fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't mind. It's really good. Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. But no, it's good.
That's great. No, it sounds that sounds good. Get that sweet sponsorship deal coming in.
Yeah, come on. Gotta have something.
Dude, talking about making things and that sort of thing, though, you said you were... we've talked about this before, but there's lots of different ways you can try and make a well, a living is a big stretch, you know.
A bit more money online.
Yeah.
No, let's talk about it. So Ben's always said I should have a Patreon.
Well, I mean, maybe I maybe mentioned it once or twice.
Well, you know, I get it. Patreon's a really great thing. If you're not sure what Patreon is, it's super briefly, it's basically a way your fans can support you directly, like bypassing with YouTube and bypassing everything else. You can like donate, I don't know, $2 to like £5 or £10 a month, depending on what you want, and then you'd get something back for it. So say if you donate a tenner, you'd get secret videos and extra stuff. It's basically extra stuff if you're really into that person's content.
Yeah.
And I've always avoided it because I've always felt like there's other channels which are doing it more often and better than I am, and they don't have a Patreon. So why would I personally set one up? However, I've actually had a couple comments recently that have said, "Hey man, this is great stuff. How can I support you? How do I, do you have a Patreon or anything?" And I said no to them both times. I don't have a Patreon. And both of them come back and said, "That's a shame, you should set one up. I'd support you."
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, well, maybe I should take it a bit more seriously then, because even if it's the odd person here, then why not?
Yeah.
Now, I'm still hesitant, and I want to explain why.
Sure.
It's because I could be really upfront on the Patreon or whatever it is and just say, look, this is just an outright way to support me, and you don't get anything for it. It's just you like the content, you want to see more. Here's like a coffee. Go.
Yeah.
Treat
not
yourself.
Not to hop in, mate, but I know a lot of people do use it like that, almost like a tip jar. Because I know there are different sites that are more geared towards it just being a tip jar, like a one-off. Here's a bit of cash thing.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I think. Go on.
No, sorry, dude. I was going to say I follow at least one, or I support at least one YouTube. Oh, it's a YouTube channel and a podcast that this guy is part of. I think I said to you, yeah.
So do I. I support a thing called Digital Dark Room, which is like $5 a month.
Yeah.
And they've got probably just a few thousand more subscribers than me. But anyway, the reason why I'm still hesitant is because if it turns out to be like, let's say 10 people donate £2 or whatever, and this is going to sound like I'm being measly, but that's only £20 a month, and I'd feel like I'd need to give something back for it, and I wouldn't want to take the time out of doing the standard video stuff to do stuff for other people that's only bringing in a very small amount.
That you're not, yeah.
And that, I mean that in the kindest possible way. Like, I don't want them to spend money needlessly if they're not going to get anything back for it. But then there's also, I have been debating about lots of other stuff, I've been thinking about digital products a lot recently.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of comments I get are like, I really like how you edit your videos, or I really like how you colour the videos, because my videos are quite colourful. They're quite, compared to, I think it's probably one of the main selling points I have to other tech YouTubers is it's a bit more colourful, and there's a bit more, it's a bit less sterile. I watch a lot of tech YouTube and I get so bored with some of it because it's so white background, here's the phone, maybe there's a plant in it, and I get a bit sick of it. Not sick of it because I think it looks bad. I think it looks great, but it's so boring. So if there's a chance to make something a bit more colourful, then that's what I do. And I do play around a lot with the look of it. So when it comes into Premiere Pro, it usually looks really flat and there's not much going on. And I muck around with the colours until it looks nice. You can export those colour presets as a LUT. It's called a lookup table. And then lots of creators actually sell a LUT pack. So I'm kind of dancing between the idea of, do I just set up a small online store where I sell a LUT pack and like a photo version of that pack so people can get a similar look to what I've got?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And it's like a one-off thing. Buy it if you're interested. It helps support me. It doesn't cost me anything because, apart from the time of making it, I'm not giving out a physical product.
It's the best kind of thing, mate. It's the best kind of digital product because once you've made it, it's done.
Yeah, that's it.
And then it just sits there. Yeah.
Well, exactly. And this is what I was toying with, is like, then it's no longer an updating thing, like a Patreon where I have to feel like I need to give back all the time.
Yeah.
And, maybe it's just I had another idea of making YouTube. I don't want to get too deep into this because we would talk about it for way too long.
No,
but,
sure.
There's when I hit 20,000 subs, which I did the other day, which was good.
Woo!
I made these like little milestone I guess they're tiny little graphics. So it just says "Bike Review 20,000 subscribers," and it looks quite nice. If I do say so myself, not that I think it's the best design ever, but I think that it looks quite nice.
Nice enough that someone else would like it.
Yeah, and I had a DM saying, "Where'd you get that template from?" And I said, "Oh, I made it." So I feel like there's two things I could possibly sell digitally is like milestone templates where you literally open up in Photoshop, type in your thing, and it looks great, and you post that. Yeah. And then a lot pack, so 5 presets for video, which make it really colourful, really washed out, super grainy, things that I would not commonly do. So those are the things that I'm thinking about, but until I've got a good idea of what I want to do.
I think full disclosure, mate, what we'll do is there's stuff I want to talk to you about this. Yeah. But we can chat in real life about some of the thoughts that I've got, because it wouldn't be right to start talking about it now. But yeah, we'll talk some more.
Yeah.
Let's just piss this off now and we'll start talking about it.
So that's a small update of like the things I am thinking about, if anyone that listens is interested.
Well, dude, it is. I think it affects a lot of people, because there's a lot of people who are making stuff for online. And I mean, I had this conversation with my wife the other day. She's been doing the Joe Wicks PE videos as like a workout.
Yeah.
Because apparently they're quite hard for adults as well, right? It turns out.
Right.
But he's been saying that he's raising money for the NHS with what he's doing, with doing his PE with Joe.
Sure.
But he was saying that he started making T-shirts, and he has almost overnight surpassed what he's made through YouTube with the sales of the T-shirts.
That's insane.
And I mean, it just goes to highlight how, because of the number of people that are watching the videos, a tiny percentage will buy a T-shirt. And I mean it, would put money on it being like sub 1% of people who watched it have bought a T-shirt. But it's the fact that if all you do is make video, I mean, I don't know, and you know this, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but if all you do is make the video and have an ad at the start, the revenue from that is small. Like on a play per play basis, on a single advert basis.
Oh yes, it's awful.
So I mean, you've got this whole world of people looking for other ways to monetize what they're doing, whether that's in video sponsorships, which I know you've had a glorious few tastes of. Obviously Apple, yeah. Or whether it's by offering. Mate, I'm a big believer in this. I'm a big believer. It's just a question of giving people the way to support you, giving people the way to say thank you. Because I mean, like with one of the guys that I support on Patreon, I get nothing extra that I'm not going to get anyway. He posts videos a day early. Sometimes he'll post up a poll saying, what sort of thing in the next video. I never take part in the polls because I'm not that bothered. And and to be honest, I see the fact that Patreon emails me to say, "Oh, look, he's posted a video early." I see that as an inconvenience, because I'm like, I know I'm just going to get the YouTube notification in a day. Tomorrow, sometimes I want to check my email. I've got both. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah. So, dude, I've never watched anything. I've never taken advantage of the one hair thin benefit that supporting it gives me. But I'm just happy to do it, because I mean, it's a couple of quid. And I think you can make it so that people pay per thing that you make as well on Patreon.
Yeah, that's how I'm supporting this other guy. It's $5 a video, but he only uploads once every 2 or 3 months. Yeah. It's really sparse.
And I think you can cap a monthly amount anyway. So it's not like, so someone can't make like 15 videos in one day.
Yeah.
You can set it so it's like yeah. Oh man, yeah. No, I think that's it's a good thing to look forward to in the future, man.
Actually, one more thing I will add to it, because I thought of this last night, is
sure.
I do all my best thinking in bed when I'm trying to get to sleep.
Naturally.
That's where it all comes out. Is if I was going to do the Patreon, I've got over 5, I've probably got about 6 or 7 videos dusted, that were never uploaded.
I see.
Literally they're sitting on my hard drive. Some of them are really short, some of them are like, I just didn't think they were good enough.
Yeah.
And some are just, so I could always have like a cutting room floor sort of tier, where if you want to see the shit I don't post.
Yeah. You see, you like that stuff that you like. It's like that, but not as good.
Yeah. Pay for stuff which is objectively worse than you're getting for free. But yeah, so that's another thought.
Mate, there's a lot to it. I don't know. I'd encourage people to check it out as well. Like if you make, just open your heart, open your heart, accept that sometimes people might want to support you.
Definitely. And the last thing I'll say on it, this is, I think the reason, if nothing circulates up for like a month, is because I want to do it right. I don't want it to be just like, there it is.
Yeah,
I want it to, even if it's just a case of designing it nicely and like making sure it fits in, rather than just like, here's bite reviews.
Here's whatever it is.
You can tell because it's got his name on the top.
Yeah, sure.
It's got to look like it's properly part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Anyway, those are my ongoing thoughts.
I mean, mate, I know we had something else we were thinking of talking about, but that can wait. I think. And I don't want to say because we'll save it. We'll save the other thing that was on the list because I think that might be the show. I think that might be.
Yeah, I'm going. It's got past 10. It's an early show today, ladies and gentlemen. We started at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I was out of bed nice and early for this. I actually had a walk on the beach this morning with my wife. Yeah,
Oh, blimey.
We thought we'd get down there before it was full of people. Good
idea.
Let's not get sad thinking about the lack of social. Mate, just to give it a nice coda on this podcast, a nice angry, rage-filled ending to this episode. Yeah, I'm sure that people are starting to get tired of social distancing. They're starting to drop off the map with it. I had the worst Tesco shopping experience of my life the other day because people are getting tired of it, and I understand why it's happening, but I still don't like it. So we've switched now to home delivery. We're going to try it out. We're going to do our first home delivery because I've had it. Because if you're not going to do it right, then I'm not going to participate in this.
Yeah, fair enough, man. We've been considering switching to home delivery because it's like 99% of the shop can abide by it, but if one person isn't, then it kind of fucks the whole thing.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd just get in my little anger outburst. Where can people find you online if they want to track you down?
If you want to see that kickflip online, it's at Bite Review everywhere.
We should say as well, it's BYTE, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We've never said that. Never meant. I tell you what, there's probably someone with like Bite Review, like BI.
It's a strange dentist channel.
Why are these thousands of people asking me about this podcast?
Thousands upon thousands. I don't have a podcast.
Yeah, stop asking. If on the off chance you want to suggest things or for that we could talk about, then you can also send me a message at Benji Wanlung on various different sites. If you like pictures of gardens under construction, then you probably enjoy what I'm laying down.
Make it happen.
Thanks as always to Tony Thaxton for our theme, and thank you to you for listening. If you listen this far, you get to hear the thank you. Yeah, nice little treat there for you.
Well done, David. Well done, Jared. Maybe. Well done, Randy. Maybe.
I think, maybe.
Oh, wait, if we've got actual listeners that have picked up from the Bite Review end of things, then thank you for listening too.
And thank you for putting up with me.
Yeah. Probably
the less polished, less professional recording artist. It's good to have had you. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.